Hello, I'm Robbie Fowler and you're watching Redmen TV.
I am Paul Machin for the Redmen TV. I'm at Fenway Park where Liverpool are currently undergoing an open training session with the procession of Liverpool fans, soaking the atmosphere in. It's good, as you can see. I'm joined by the Liverpool Echo's Kristian Walsh, Liverpool Echoes, and of course Redmen stalwart Kristian Walsh.
Always and forever in our hearts.
It's been a long time since we've seen you, mate. You all right?
yeah. I've just been away, sort of doing loads of things and finding myself basically. I'll have to come on the show sometime soon again. I haven't forgotten you.
Basically, we're gonna blackmail Kristian to come back on the show. Mate, this is amazing. I personally have never seen anything like it. You know, people turning up to watch Liverpool train in an environment as cool as this.
It's fantastic. When I walked up the steps just then, it's absolutely incredible. It's that wow factor where you take a deep intake of breath, because it's an incredible stadium. Never been here before myself, and it's incredible to see the draw that Liverpool have got. Even though they came here 2 years ago, the fans have turned out. They're still as passionate as ever. Obviously, they're buoyed by the incredible season last season. And it's just brilliant. And there's such a nice vibe around the place. You know, everyone's really happy, really optimistic, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I feel like I've sort of suitably recovered from the devastation, the mental and physical devastation of last season. I think I'm ready for this all to start again. What about you?
I think something like this is good. You know, I think something like this can help a lot of Liverpool fans, because, you know, new season brings new excitement, new questions, new worries as well, possibly. But it's a fresh, and you know, with Suarez going as well, it does really feel like a line has been drawn, and this is the next era. Yeah. Personally speaking, you know, was that a year too soon in terms of, you know, did it feel like the end of the cycle hadn't quite come yet? Yeah. Who knows? Liverpool couldn't do anything about that. Yeah. It is what it is, and you know, Rodgers has brought in a number of what I believe are talented players. Yeah.
Well, we were talking earlier how you obviously the training down at Harvard, aren't you? And you went down to see, and you were quite impressed by what you've seen of Markovic so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's simple stuff, but it's just his first touch looks absolutely fantastic. Chan, he wasn't there yesterday, but he was there today. He looks physically imposing. Lallana, a player who I feel like people have almost forgotten about because it happened so early. And he looks very good. You know, he's got wonderful technique. You wouldn't think he was English. Yeah. You know, which is the biggest compliment you can pay anyone after the summer.
If anyone takes umbrage with that, by the way, fuck off. Essentially, like
it's, you know, after well, you know, sorry, it doesn't look like a Roy Hodgson Englishman. Yes. But you know, this
looks sort of a bit like Kiriakos, only with a skinhead, I imagine anyway. Like.
And this is, you know, what you got to remember is that a large portion of the England squad are Liverpool players, and they do feel like the new breed of Liverpool player. You know, you're still, and you're so exciting, can pick a ball up in space, turn, pivot, do everything pretty much. You've got Lallana now. You've got other, you know, those sorts of players who, even someone like John Flanagan has shown at times that goal that he set up against Tottenham. Yeah. Brilliant technique. So, you know, it's one of those things where it feels like Liverpool are ahead of the curve at the moment, and you just got to hope that that's what will continue. Yeah.
I mean, Brendan Rodgers was keen to impress him on, like, you talk about Emre, what did he, Chan, what are we going with?
Jackie.
Jan?
It's sort of, apparently, it sounds a bit like a sneeze. According to Simon Hughes, that is.
Yeah, I love it.
No, it's Chan. Chan will do.
Chan will do. But he was saying
how stop the can puns.
Well, I know. Yeah, I know. Well, that's ruined a lot of your work. Like, yeah, Liverpool Echo editors just crossing shit off. Like, no, but he was talking about Chan and saying how obviously the trust Sami Hyypiä had in him last season, and the fact that he basically played in every position apart from in goal or up front. I mean, without putting the pressure on, but shades of Stevie J, I suppose, in that regard. Not necessarily, I'm saying he's there, but we saw Gerrard play in every one of those positions.
One thing Brendan Rodgers loves is tactical flexibility. He loves a player who can play everywhere, and that is something that I think a lot of his signings have got. You know, even Lambert he's flexible in the sense that he's not just a number 9 target man. In fact, he's not. He's something completely different.
We were talking about this the other day, actually, saying people seem to think Lambert is that, like, going to be like an Andy Carroll, like he's a plan B, like Everton having Duncan Ferguson back in the day. Throw him on when you need to you put someone under pressure, but he's underrated as a technical player, very good at dropping deep. I said in some respects he's kind of like got a little bit of what Peter Crouch had, but he's probably a bit more direct with it.
And Brendan said in the press conference about how his touch is really good and his technique, and you know, Brendan can take a player, and if there are faults even at the age of maybe 32, and hone them, and he can take the strengths and make them even stronger. And a player like Lambert, I feel like when he was under Pochettino, he really improved as well. Yeah. You know, obviously I will put Rodgers a level higher than Pochettino, so it'll be really, really exciting to see what he can do with him, because I'm not saying he's necessarily going to start every week, but he's a player who might surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what was good, I mean, I mentioned I took my chance to get me question in the press, and of course, like as I do, we're asking about Jordan Ive. I mean, he's looked impressive. I mean, to be honest, he looked impressive last pre-season as well. I mean, the fear is, and we discussed this on the show last week, is the Danny Pacheco syndrome with players who forever look great in pre-season but never quite kick on. But what do you reckon? Has he got the ability to have a go in the first team this season?
I mean, I think the game against QPR, albeit 12 months ago, all right, it might have been a glorified pre-season because it was basically Carragher's testimonial. Yeah. But he was very, very impressive then. Notts County, very impressive. Again, League One team, but still, you've got to do it in a competitive game. It's still a competitive game. And there's something, a lot of people who are speaking about him are so excited about him. And for me, it's a lazy assumption to just say he's another Sterling, because he brings something completely different to the table. And he's
two a Sterling wide as well.
Yeah, but that's one of the things. He's got this incredible ability to sort of, you know where he's going to go, but you can't do anything about it because he's so strong and so his position's so good that people can't get a touch in. He's exciting. He's only 19. Oh, sorry, he's 18, isn't he? He's 18. Which is, you know, a year younger than Sterling, which is hard to believe, but it shows you how good Sterling is. You know,
but I'd written Sterling off this time, this last summer, and then going into the start of the season, I think most of us were saying maybe a low move, but it looked mentally as he got it, kind of thing, like, and you know, but it's strange because I say Ibe looks more impressive this summer than Sterling did last summer, and yet Sterling's clearly got something that's clicked, and now he's probably the best young player in world football.
I think what clicked is hanging out with Brendan Rodgers. I really do feel. Yeah.
I kind of like the idea that they do that.
Bit of Xbox.
You come round to mine to watch. Come round to mine to watch EastEnders. Raheem.
And he is. I genuinely believe, from what I've seen of Brendan, that, you know, for close quarters, even in the past 2 days in the training, well, sorry, today, obviously wasn't there yesterday, he's someone who's very much, he just takes youngsters and tells them what to do, but he still allows them that freedom.
But not in a weird way.
Not in a demon headmaster sort of way, you know. And that's the thing though, he's authoritative, but also he knows how to get the best out of them, and he knows that some players don't enjoy that sort of style of management. Yeah. He's a brilliant man manager, and the young players all absolutely love him. Yeah.
I think the point I was making in an interview earlier was, well, the optimism for the season. We're putting a lot of faith in young players this season. You know, ahead by the looks of it. You know, there's a hope that Daniel Sturridge is going to make another step up. Markovic is only 20. Philip Coutinho's early 20s. Similarly, Sterling's going to be 20 as well, isn't he? Going on 20. It's not necessarily the trust we're putting in the players, but we trust in Brendan Rodgers to be able to make those players into the players we need them to be.
Exactly, and at the same time, that's probably unfair because one man can only do so much. And what you got to remember is that he does have players. Last season, he did have players such as Suarez, Sturridge, Steven Gerrard, Martin Skrtel had a brilliant season. John Flanagan, although he's young, has been there a couple of years, stepped up to the plate as well. So you know, it's not as if he's the sole reason. Far from it, but the way he used his tactics last season, tinkered in between each game. Obviously, he won't have that time this season with the Champions League. Yeah. But at the same time, he's a very likeable person if you're a footballer, I think. And that's just as important as what he tells you to do with your feet, as what he tells you to do with your mind. And that's a big thing.
Well, you told me not to ask you about transfer, so we'll talk in a very general sort of term. Like, I mean, obviously, there's money burning a hole in Brendan Rodgers' arse pocket at the minute. You know what I mean? They reported in the Echo, I think, as well, that they've not even spent. They've started spending the Suarez money. There must be a temptation there to go and spunk it all on someone amazing.
The temptation is there. in terms of, I'm not talking from the club's perspective, but you know, I'm sure a lot of people would say, well, why don't you? But it almost feels like that sort of contradicts Brendan Rodgers' style. He's not. I think one of the things that can't be underestimated about last season was what a good bunch of people that he has. Always talks about the person that he's signing, not just the player, but the person, the personality. If you bring in a £60 million player, that could upset the apple cart. What happened last season, and something that, you know, he's got to adapt to this season, I feel, is that there's a lot more competition for places. Last season, everyone seemed to know the squad role, and we're really happy with it. Moses was happy just coming on for 5 minutes. Aspas was
So are we.
And this season, he's got a lot more juggling to do. It'll be interesting to see how that pans out. But going back to the point about, you know, a marquee sign, as much as I don't like the term, I just don't think that's all. I think that contradicts Brendan Rodgers' style of management, and I also feel, you know, he sort of inherited one with Suarez, but he also made him a much better team player. So I don't think he'd want to sort of have to reprogram someone all over again. He wants people. He doesn't want a direct replacement for Suarez. He said this himself. He wants players who can come in and do the little bits and bobs that Suarez used to do. Yeah, bits and bobs. Yeah, 31 goals.
Yeah, just the 31. Like. Anyway, look. Obviously, the game's going to be tomorrow. What do you think? What are you hoping to see?
From a personal perspective, I would like to see Ibe get some time. I'm really looking forward to Markovic, as I said, with his touch. Interested to see how, just sort of what, I mean, you can never read anything into them, or not too much anyway, in my opinion, but I'm interested to see how he sets up the team. You know, will he go with two across the middle again, or will he go back to that triangle, you know, flipping the pyramid and all that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yes, we've missed the flip the triangle talk.
So, and you know, the amount of midfielders he's now got on his disposal, that's a possibility. But you know, it's great for the fans more than anything. You know, it's great for the fans of Boston and the people who come from all over America to watch this. So more than anything, I just hope Liverpool give a really good performance and, you know, win for the fans. And
also all the fans back in England who have to stay up till midnight to watch it will get something of an insight into what it's like to be these fans who obviously this is like that's their life and how they follow Liverpool as well. Like, so.
No one wants Ecuador versus Honduras all over again, do they? we've been well versed in that. But yeah, you know, it's the other thing I also want is, you know, it'd be nice if it rained. That'd be lovely. Just for a bit. Just a bit of cloud, anyone. But yeah, apart from that.
Sorry, do you realise how much dickheads? It's far too hot. It's far too pleasant. The weather is it's far too nice in Boston. What a pain in the arse. Anyway, right, thanks. I'm only wearing the red to the track from the horrific sunburn I received yesterday. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Much appreciated. Thanks.
I will get on the show. Soon, there we go.
Don't forget to tweet Kristian Walsh and tell him to come on the show. Anyway, I'm Paul Mitchell. This is the open trading session at Fenway Park for Liverpool, ahead of Liverpool versus Roma. Signing off.